England joins countries around the world to make it compulsory to wear face coverings in certain places. And from the 24th of July 2020, it is a criminal offence for you not to wear face coverings in certain premises if you don't have a reasonable excuse or are exempt from wearing one. So where must you now wear a face covering? These are the changes from the 24th of July 2020 in England. You must legally wear a face covering in the following premises: supermarkets and indoor shopping centres, shops such as butchers and newsagents, banks, building societies and the post office, when buying takeaway food from a cafe or takeaway, indoor train, buses and coach stations, indoor airports and marine terminals. It is not compulsory for you to wear your face covering in eat-in cafes and takeaways, pubs and restaurants, hairdressers and treatment salons, gyms and leisure centres, cinemas and concert halls, dentists and opticians, or on the street or in the park. You will be exempt from wearing a face covering if, for example, you are under the age of 11, you have breathing difficulties, you suffer from panic attacks, wearing a face covering would cause you pain, or you work in the shop. If you have a good reason for not wearing a face covering, then consider carrying an exemption card. You also do not need to wear a face covering if you have a reasonable excuse for not wearing a face covering, such as you cannot put on a face covering because of a physical disability, you experience severe distress whilst wearing a face covering, you rely on lip reading to communicate, you need to take medication, or you need to eat and drink. You are also allowed to take off your face covering in places you must wear them, for example if asked by the bank clerk or a police officer for identification purposes, or if asked to do so when buying age-restricted products like cigarettes. There may be particular venue rules of entry to wear a face covering where it is not compulsory by law to do so, such as workplaces. Premises can also refuse entry to people not wearing a face covering when it is compulsory to do so. However, it is not the role of an employee or security officer to enforce the law on face coverings. If they do so and use force to remove a person for not wearing a face covering, this may be an assault. The police are the only ones who can enforce the law. So the police should be called, who can then use reasonable force to remove an uncovered person from the premises, but the police should only do this as a last resort, after finding out whether the person is exempt or has a reasonable excuse for not wearing a face covering. The police can issue a fixed penalty notice to those who commit an offence. The fixed penalty notice is set at £100 for the offence, reduced to £50 if paid within 2 weeks. Remember, your face covering should cover your mouth and nose to protect others from any airborne transmissions of COVID-19. And a face covering can be anything from a scarf, a handkerchief, a bandana, a niqab, or a surgical mask. Remember to carry a face covering with you, as this regulation is likely to be in place for the next 12 months. If you're a venue manager, put up a clear notice stating clearly that it is illegal or a breach of the rule of the premises to enter without a face covering unless you have a reasonable excuse or are exempt. Remember also to be aware of the many exceptions and reasonable excuses why people may not be legally required to wear a face covering before you call the police. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Community Legal Education to be the first to watch our short legal video explainers. Stay safe and may the justice be with you.